All right, everyone. Eric Pausini with 9 to 5 Sports. Going to be getting into the top value picks here of NFL DFS Week 1. Now, with that being said, I typically like to focus on players that are pretty much $1,000 cheaper than the minimum price, or $1,000 more expensive than the minimum price. This week it's a little bit different. Pretty much just going to be targeting the players I thought were pretty much at the lowest price, that were the best value, if that makes sense. Just because with this week, it's a little bit different, a lot of soft pricing, so there's going to be a lot of value out there, but just wanted to let you guys know that right off the bat. So I'm going to start off really with the stack that I like. We got Marquez Callaway there, number 12, number 1 this year, but number 12 last year. I do really like him. He's going to be a solid pick for you guys this week. He's priced at 3.4, just simply too cheap. Should get 6 targets, should get 4 receptions at least. Going to have a safe floor, but he's also going to have some upside. He's one of those players that I think we just kind of have to go out of our way to play this week, especially in GPPs and even in cash. I like him. But let's start off with a stacking option. I want to start off with really the Carolina Panthers here. So just looking at, we got Dan Arnold. He's kind of been around the block now, if you will. But he was kind of producing at the end of the year last year on a different team now with the Carolina Panthers, who has Sam Darnold. In the last preseason game where Sam Darnold started, Dan Arnold had 3 receptions in the first half. It's kind of intriguing to me. Not only that, but he is going against the New York Jets, that's going to be a revenge game for Sam Darnold. So I'm already going to mention Sam Darnold as kind of the lowest price quarterback that I like on the slate. But I could see Dan Arnold actually going on and producing. He averaged 6.1 DK points last year, which if he just does that at this price point, he's going to hit value. But if he does take advantage of the great matchup with the New York Jets, I could see him hitting that tight end projection of 11.4. Now, obviously, I don't really expect that, but I could see it happening just given the fact that, one, Darnold was using him in the preseason. Great matchup. And he's a guy that's, an athletic tight end player. I just don't mind him at that price point to start off with. But then, Ian Thomas is getting a decent boost as well. I think it's going to be Dan Arnold. But with that, the real point is that Sam Darnold is going to be kind of the best quarterback value out there on the slate. It's going against a defense that, on average, gives up 2.6 more DK points to an opposing quarterback's average points scored. I got Sam Darnold projected to score or return 4.2x value. I love that, okay? Going against the Jets, who, once again, they struggled. This is a revenge game narrative. He's not a horrible quarterback. If anything, he's going to get like 15 DK points, okay, which is good. That's a safe floor. It's 3x. If he gets up to 20, it's going to be a 4x return, which is why I have him projected to do right around 240 passing yards, about 2.6 rushing points, which maybe you want to subtract that off there. Maybe. It's going to be 18 DK points, which I'm perfectly fine with. Sam Darnold at this price point is just absolutely phenomenal. And now we get into a bunch of these receiver value plays, and I'm just going to use the slider here, which you guys can't exactly see. But I just want to factor in the players that are all pretty much under 4K here and just sort of by really receiver projections. So Jalen Rager actually getting a huge bump here. I'm not sure I exactly believe that, mostly because I really like another guy for the Eagles. We got Quez Watkins at 3K. He's a guy that showed out during preseason, and then they kind of shut him down is what it seemed like to me, because they viewed what they had in him, and then they kind of shut it down because they didn't want other defenses to really see what they had in Quez Watkins. Coming into his second year, he did have 2 games last year where he produced. He had 13 points against the Cardinals, DK points, and then he had 7.7, I guess, against Dallas. That's intriguing. He's a guy that they really like, and honestly, it won't be too shocking to see him end up being the top receiver for this team. Now, he's going against the Falcons, who were the worst team against receivers last year. Honestly, I kind of think this game's going to be a shootout. This is going to be one you guys want to target because I think the Eagles' defense is horrible. So I think the Eagles are going to be throwing a lot more, going against a horrible defense last year. Quez Watkins is a guy that could easily score a deep bomb touchdown. I got him actually projected to have, 2.3 receptions and 43.2 receiving yards. I think that's going to be a little bit higher because I don't have that much faith in Jalen Rager. And then just talking about MVS, he's a guy that easily could catch a deep bomb, especially if this game is going to be more higher scoring. I just don't mind him at 3.7. That's definitely a little bit too cheap for him. And then we look at some like Chris Conley, guys. Chris Conley is 3K minimum price. He's the receiver 2 right now. And I know Nico Collins is there. He's a great rookie receiver. He's the guy that I'm excited to draft, especially in best balls and whatnot. But right now, as it sits, Chris Conley is the guy that you want to target. The guy I'm projected to score 7.8 DK points, which is like 2.6 return. Got a bunch of targets in their first game. I just don't mind. Chris Conley at this price point, definitely a little bit too cheap for him. And then, that's really it. I will say, Sam Darnold I already mentioned, and then I just will mention the Falcons defense as well. I did already mention that, Quez Watkins is a great value at that price point, given the fact that the Falcons were horrible against opposing receivers. But the Eagles offense, or the Eagles team as a whole, just has not looked good. If we can get a defense at 2K that's going to score positive points, it's a little bit intriguing to me. Kind of the safe thing to do in DFS a lot of times is to pay down for defense, the lowest price defense that's not going to go negative. That way you can afford to pay up for some of the other studs on the slate. That's what Falcons defense does for you guys this week. But that's all I have for you guys. If you guys enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribe. I do appreciate that. Let's have a good week. And as always, guys, let's keep cashing.